You're recording.
Mine.
We're live.
No, no. These are my chairs.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start the meeting. We're recording. That's okay. Please look at the agenda and the minutes. They're on the front of the agenda page.
Okay. My apologies, Marge put them in the wrong order.
That's okay.
I thought I saw change.
Is there an extra copy somewhere
Of what?
of the agenda?
Ms. Santos. Well, I did. No, I got this. This is perfect.
Just hold on.
Take your time. Hurry up. Don't rush.
Take your time. The only correction I have is that otters are a protected species. It's just that they are part of the ecological system, and I would not recommend that we mess with that.
Can we give them Century Village ID cards and charge them rent?
Why not, right?
Okay. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Could we, I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
My correction to the minutes.
You gotta turn the switch.
As corrected.
Yes.
Okay, my correction is that it states here that the otters are a protected species. They're not protected, but they are part of our ecological system here, and I would not interfere with that by having them removed.
I made a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
Do I have a second on that? All right, Bob seconds the motion. Very good. Okay. Miss Monica. Oh, I got it. I'm good.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, wait a minute.
Gotta turn the switch on.
Okay. Okay. How's everybody doing today? Good.
Wonderful.
Here.
Thank you, thank you.
All right. Today we're looking at the statement of operations for the month of November, which is the first month of our new fiscal year. So the income and expenses for the month of November is also the year-to-date. The revenues for the month were $394,000. The expenses, $461,000. So we have a loss of $67,000, and we had budgeted a loss for that particular month of $70,000. So it's only a variance of $2,651. At the bottom is your social activity summary. Your theater income for November was $9,665. For your theater, dances, and movies, we spent $20,699. So we have a loss of $11,000 for the month, and we had budgeted a loss of $3,000. So it's a negative variance of $8,000. Any questions? Okay. The next schedule is your cash balances. Your total operating funds as of November 30th was $1,031,000. Money sitting in your windstorm reserves is $765,000. Money sitting in your contingency infrastructure improvement reserves is down to $310,000 as of November. So your total reserve funds $1,075,000, and total cash on hand $2.1 million. Any questions there? Okay. Your third report is your social activity summary, and this is for the month of December. 2,382 residents and our guests attended theater performances, including your holiday concert. The gross sales were $25,326. When you reduce the audience view cost and the sales tax, our net sales, $22,382. We paid the performers $22,250. So we have a slight profit of $133 for the month of December. Your Saturday night dances, including your New Year's Eve dance, there were 1,065 residents and guests attending dances. For the New Year's Eve dance, we collected just shy of $7,000, and we paid the band $1,500, so we made a nice profit of $4,700 on the New Year's Eve dance. For your movies for December, there were 3 movies, 725 residents attended the movies. We paid $963 for the movies. So for your theater, dances, and movies for December, we have a net profit of $2,796. I will tell you, I went back and looked at last year for December, and this is a huge improvement over last December, because last year we had a loss for the theater, dances, and movies for December of $11,000. So, yes, sir.
I'm sorry, going back to the total reserve cash, how much interest are you making on that?
Not much of anything, because we were using the funds to pay for the HVAC project, but it's in different bank accounts with different rates, and something's in CDs. I don't know specifically the rate for each one of those accounts offhand.
Thank you.
Yeah, luckily the rates at most of the banks are going up, but unfortunately for commercial rates, for, business accounts, they don't go up as fast as the rates go up for consumer money market accounts and CDs and that kind of thing, but they are increasing. So we just got to rebuild the reserves so that we can take advantage of the increasing rates. Anything else? Okay. The next report, sorry you have to turn sideways, is the revenue collected from guests, and this is also through December for the month. This is November and December. Our resident box office sales were $43,000 for the 2 months. $22,000 was sold to guests, so our total box office sales were $65,000. There were 3,500 tickets sold to residents, 1,456 sold to guests. Total tickets sold 4,958. Included in the price of the tickets sold at the box office for those 2 months, for your $3 guest fees that's added to the ticket price, we collected $4,368. Also, guest passes sold in the ID office, we collected $5,566, and guest passes sold in the staff office, another $2,097. So your total guest fees for the 2 months, $12,031. Your last report is your, I'm sorry,
12,031.
$12,031. Yeah.
I thought it was interest.
Your last report is your Estoppel results, and this is through December as well. For the month of November and December, there were 100 units sold in this community. The same period the prior year, there were 131 units sold. So it's a decrease of 31 units or 24%, and that's typical of what we're seeing everywhere right now. We collected $20,940 in Estoppel fees for those 2 months. In the prior year, we collected $28,510, so it's a decrease of $7,570. And unless there's anything else, that's it for me today.
Okay, well, I would say that since we've, a lot on the agenda, that since Abby only has 3 things, that we would let Abby go first so she could leave. And not have to sit through everything. So Abby?
Thank you. Every year in March, I come to you to get the following season approved. So we are looking for approvals for 23-24, because in order for us to go to print and technical writers and contracting, it takes months to do that. So I'd like to set a meeting for March 19th or 20th with all of you. I would prefer the 19th, but I want to give you two options. Can you look at your calendars?
We'll have to let you know.
Okay?
What day of the week are the?
Monday and Tuesday.
What time?
I'm open all day, so it's at your discretion.
I'll have Carolyn get back to you. Okay.
What were the options, Abby?
March 19th and 20th. It's a Sunday?
So it must be the 20th and the
20 and
21st.
21, sorry.
Oh.
I just want to let you know that for the summer, starting April of '23 through October of '23, we are going to try to do one brochure for the summer rather than monthly clubhouse happenings to save some money. And then we will do monthly inserts where you'll have the movies and the dances. That's exactly what it looks like. We may change the color though.
Well, it's not defined.
It's not final at all. We just sent it to Ruth to show her what we'd like to put in the newspaper. So we're gonna try it. If we get a lot of complaints, we'll undo it, but, you know, we're gonna try it because we're gonna print in mass quantities, and we get so many dance band changes and so many movie changes that we can do it closer to the date of the performance. And New Year's Eve, we are having a very, I don't know how many in here are dancers. How many of you go to the dance? Well, Ruth Davis has officially retired. Her health, yeah, her husband is in rehab and she's decided to have a knee replacement. And there are a lot of band leaders, a lot of these bands, one-man bands, just won't work for the kind of money that we pay. But I'll address that at the next meeting. Carlos is a real problem too. Carlos doesn't show up. He didn't show up on Sunday in Pembroke Pines. But we'll address all that another time. The reason that I'm mentioning this to you is that I really want some feedback before I come to your meeting in March. It is really hard to get musicians for the theater. And the reason that you always have a 7 o'clock show and I take the next show to Boca is so that I can pay double for the musicians and not hit you, West Palm, or Boca with it. This year we have a show on December 30th because it is a Saturday night. Does anybody have an immediate reaction to me saying we will not have a show on New Year's Eve? We will show a movie called New Year's Eve, which has Sarge in it, and that also should push the dance tickets stronger. Is there any immediate negative, oh my God, don't do that?
I can't stand Sarge.
Okay, well, that's not, Sarge is just, I didn't say.
It's a movie, it's not in live.
Oh, okay, all right, I apologize.
Okay.
I take it back.
Does anybody have any knee-jerk immediate reaction that, oh my God, Abby, that's the worst thing you ever done?
Well, having been to his last show and having seen the number of people that got up and walked out and complained
But
about
we're
it,
not talking about Sarge.
We're not talking about that.
I understand that. It's a movie with him in it, or
He's a minimal part.
I'm just,
The dialogue was written for him.
Can I tell you something? I can show any movie. I don't have to show New Year's Eve. I could show any movie. So I guess let's rephrase that question if you all don't like Sarge. Is there any negative, do you see any negative to not having a show, knowing we have a show the Saturday night before, knowing that we potentially could push the dance, getting more attendance into the dance? Does anybody have any negative reaction to not having a show on New Year's Eve? Good. Yes, we are.
Could you speak up?
But you're still gonna have a dance on New Year's Eve. We're only talking about New Year's Eve. And in order for me to program and plan and create the budgets to bring to you in March at this approval meeting, I needed the answer to that question. So we're good.
No, there's no negative.
Maureen,
The New Year's Eve movie is called New Year's Eve back in
what, 5, 8 years ago that came out?
Yeah, I could show any movie, that's a
No, I'm
moot
just
point. I
asking.
just thought it was cute to
It
show.
is.
I started the trouble.
No, you didn't.
No, there's no trouble, just
I didn't know Sarge was in that
yes
one.
or no.
That, okay, we're good, so we will not have a show. Okay, then any other questions, concerns?
How come we didn't have a show, we did have a show for Christmas Eve? No, we didn't have a show for Christmas Eve.
Because the staff has to be off.
Oh, okay, no, just asking.
Yeah.
Well, don't they have to be off New Year's too?
No,
Oh, geez.
New Year's Eve, no, not,
All right.
I mean, they'll be thrilled. Well, they're still not gonna be off, they're still gonna show a movie,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And is your clubhouse closed on Christmas Eve?
No.
Some of them do. I think,
Well, no, the clubhouse is open.
I think we close the clubhouses in Boca and Pembroke on New Year's Eve and Christmas Day. They close at like 5 o'clock and they don't reopen. You're open.
Well, it's always open for discussion because I'm having more and more trouble getting staff to stay. Yeah. Especially end of moment.
It is really hard with staff. I'm gonna share a story with you all. We have not an employee, but he is a per diem contract.
Independent contractor.
Independent contractor that does something in the theater in one of the other theaters. And all of our MCs had COVID and our replacement MCs were busy. And so I asked this independent contractor, could you say from the booth, we will show a slide with the emergency exits. Would you mind saying, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joe Schmo. Absolutely not, he'd be thrilled to. For Thursday and Saturday. A few hours later, I want to be paid for that. I said 12 words and you want to be paid for that? So I let him have it, and needless to say, he did it. But this is the mentality of employees today. And he said his attitude was, you're saving money by not paying an MC. I'm only asking for half the money. And do you not have the authority to give me the money? I said, oh no, I have the authority to give you the money, and I can give you more money if I wanted to. I said, that's not the point. I wouldn't give you a dime. Because that's not the way it works in business. You step up to the plate. I've mopped floors to get performers on. I've gone to hospitals to get people released. I've done everything that I can to get a show on the stage. And you just don't ask for that, so I'm just trying to tell you, it's not easy these days.
I'll do it for free.
They have a different mentality. Life-work balance. And we don't know, that's not what we were trained.
Think if he,
Yes.
that guy had belonged to a
You
union.
still have him employed as a per diem?
Yes, we can't get rid of him in season. But if he had said no, you can rest assured April 1st, he would have been gone.
You should have been gone that day. Goodbye.
Right now, it's hard to find to replace him.
Like you said, you go do it. And you prove to him that you don't need him.
Anyway, you don't have that problem here, thank you.
No, thank God.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? I will see you.
This might be petty. I like Tony, but he, most of the time, just wears a shirt and slacks. Shouldn't he be better dressed with a suit jacket? That's just my opinion. Again, it's petty, but
That's
since,
petty.
since.
That's petty.
I'm lucky.
Wait a second, because the lady who filled in him Saturday night dresses beautifully. I mean, just an opinion.
That's
All right.
If we want to buy him a suit, I can
No,
require
he
it.
has one, Susan. Listen, I just brought it up. It's not a big deal. I just want to know what other people thought of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I will wait to hear from Carolyn. Thank you.
That's all wrong with me?
No.
I'll go back to John. Okay, that's it. Bye, Abby. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby.
Bye, Abby. Take care.
Thanks.
Good to see you. How was your children? Have a great day.
Okay, have a good day.
I know you don't know.
Good afternoon.
Okay, you remember
Hold
the
on a
camera
second.
picking it up, please?
Okay.
Leave that to be.
Yeah, let her go outside. No, yeah, go ahead. I
It's your
just,
turn, Dan.
Okay.
Yes.
Again, good afternoon. My first topic here is the lagoon project we discussed last month, okay? We went forward with Shenandoah. The contract is in the process of going to our attorney to come back, and hopefully we'll get it in a week or so, right? That's the lagoon, the Weir project over there where it's all clogged, and Donald Foster and myself have been working on this for, Don here, have been working on this for a while. But that's to clear the Weir. Okay, so that the debris is, right now, if something were to go over the Weir right now, it would just get clogged with the amount of debris that it has in there, going from there to Okeechobee. And that could be seen from, if you want to go to the firehouse and take a look at that. Okay, you can look at it. Men's sauna, we discussed this last month. We had to make a decision, okay, on what we were going to go forward with, if it was going to be a ultraviolet or if it was going to go back with the same type of system that we have now. Again, the men's sauna is not on our budget. The women's sauna, because of the fire, Monica has been working with the insurance company, and we should have a check in the next couple of weeks or so to move forward with the carpet and the sauna in the women's. But we were discussing with the men's and the women's at this point, if we're going to go forward, we should keep them both the same in what we're going to decide. So I leave it to you on what we could. I know that the ultraviolet is a little bit more expensive than the the heating element system that we've caused the fire on the ladies' side, and also the abuse that we had in the men's side. There is a difference in temperature, okay, about how many degrees in that?
I think the regular, what we have now is somewhere up around 180 degrees. The infrared would be somewhere down around 130, 135. Okay, but we didn't have a price for that yet at the last meeting. So the price that came in for the women's sauna, if you chose the infrared, was $47,000. Now, it's a smaller sauna, so that means we dismantle what we have and put up new walls, make it smaller. It's an infrared system. The issue is if we're going to be closing the clubhouse to redo the locker rooms, it makes sense to do everything all at once. But we do not have money in the budget to do the men's.
And the price that we gave to the insurance company was with the ultraviolet, but there's, I think, a $6,000 difference, isn't it, on the lady?
Yes, the
six-
estimate that was provided to the insurance company was 40,000 even.
Okay, so.
Quote that we had.
and
So
I
that was
think
with the old system,
Yeah,
right?
and that's
Keeping
what we
it as
have
is.
around, and that's what with the old system, I think that price range is around 40,000 something for the old system to put back in place. Just wanted everybody to be aware and I'll let
what's
you
our
know.
deductible?
$5,000. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting a check for just shy of $73,000.
And we'll go whatever direction you decide in this meeting with the ladies' room when we do get the money for the insurance. But that will decide what we do with the men's room too.
Bob,
Once again,
you're on.
am I on?
You're
Hit the
not-
button.
Okay, I'm on now. Once again, I'm gonna state, stay with the old system, put a cage up above it so that no one can put anything on the heating elements or hang any towels on it. It'll go, take the little cage, it'll go all the way to the ceiling. And that settles that issue and keeps the heat where people like it. Okay?
Yes.
I'm with Bob, and I go regularly to Hastings, and I really, really, really miss the sauna. And a lot of people I talk to are really unhappy that there's no sauna. And there's a huge difference in heat between 180 degrees and 140 degrees. We go in there, we like to sweat. 140 degrees, you hardly work up the sweat. So keeping the system, figuring out some way to make it safe. So whoever that idiot is, I'll leave that alone. But many of us are really works, and if we find them, something bad can happen to them. But don't change that system. It wasn't our fault. It was one person
Idiot.
that screwed it up for everybody. The system was working fine, the heater was working fine, and we were all happy until this happened.
Is there any code issues with trying to put something around it, Dan, to prevent any kind of?
We said we could bring it to, I mean, we have to put slots, of course, just because you need to have the heat expand, go through there and breathe, but we could bring it from the floor up and the slots minimal, it's, you know, but yes, we could do that and try to prevent something from happening and
Doesn't
come up
even,
with other procedures, you know, but
it doesn't even have to be a slot. It could be the little grated, you know,
well, it has to be with the wood,
like,
so,
looks like chicken wire.
yeah, but I can't, I have to do it with wood, so I'm not gonna, with that type of wood too, so, the cedar that we use, so we can build it all the way up, it's just something that we could screw and unscrew if we need to service it, you know. It's, again, it's your choice, whatever you want.
I mean, you're talking a savings of probably 80% of what it's gonna cost to replace.
No, it's
No.
7,000.
How do you say that?
To build that? To build the thing, or a cage around it?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No matter what, we're gonna redo the sauna, so that the sauna will be redone completely. You know, and that will be just something that we would add on to make sure that we could have.
We would need that in a proposal to,
Yes.
if we were to remain with the same, you know, what the additional enclosure would cost,
Mhm.
if you could bring that. And I think that would help us to determine what we're gonna do with the men's.
I don't think it's again, so that we don't go another, just in case we get the insurance money, okay? Honestly, we could wait till the next following month, because we're not starting this project until April.
Right.
Okay, so it won't start until after the season starts anyhow, because that's when we're gonna be doing the tile work and everything else. So we have one more month, I can get everything with you, we will have those prices together for you on that, and make a decision next month, okay? All right? Good. I'll let the Fishkill go to Eva here. That's my city in New York, Fishkill.
That's right.
Staten Island?
If you lived in the village, you know we had a fish kill. So, and if you didn't, people from outside the village were wondering why all the buzzards were circling for a couple of weeks. So it affected, as far as the fish goes, it affected one type of fish, which was the peacock bass. Because they're native and they're from South America, they could not withstand the cold for that many days and nights, because it was cold and it was also cloudy. So I had quite a few residents that were annoyed with us because they wanted our men to come around and pick up all the dead fish. And I said to one of them, well, I'll put that, when we do that, we'll put that in your dumpster. Well, I don't want them in my dumpster. I said, well, where do you want me to put them? Let's let Mother Nature do her job and let the buzzards take care of it. So what we're left with is a bunch of fish skeletons in the grass. But the reason I have this is just so that you would consider and think that we need to now, I think we definitely need to add some fish to the lakes. So that's something that I'm going to present at the next budget. So, and hopefully we don't have, I don't know if it killed all of the peacock bats, but Asia had printed something for me. We actually had colder temperatures than Alaska in that cold spell those nights. Imagine that, there was actually an article about that. We had colder weather than Alaska. So that was pretty interesting, yeah. So, and that's it. Everything's been cleaned up. Thank you, buzzards. And
Let me ask you a quick question about the otters, which I don't understand. They're not a protected species, but they're ecologically, so what does that mean? We can't get rid of them?
They're native.
well, yes,
I
yes,
don't
you
want
could.
to.
It's not recommended, because we went to the biologist and we, provided sources for articles, which I brought, I think,
No,
last
that's good,
month.
I like that.
Listen, they are absolutely part of our system here. And I know that they've expanded family-wise, where we may have had one family, we now have maybe 5 or 6.
Yes.
But they will eat the sick fish so that disease does not spread. They are very much a part of the ecological system. And you don't know that by changing one thing, what you're going to change down the road. And I don't believe in messing with that in any way, shape, or form.
No, I agree, I was just curious.
We can always add more fish.
Oh, yeah, it's fine, I don't want to.
And And I don't know what's gonna happen to the otters because they're supposed to be developing the golf course and I think that's where they're living. So this could change their habitat. I don't know what's gonna happen. So we'll have to see, but I would not recommend it. I'm not recommending that course of action.
No, I agree. I was curious.
Yes.
Well, they're gonna be putting in a lake too. So most likely, some of the otters will.
Well,
decide-
I see them
decide to
moving
walk
over
there.
to us completely, and when the construction is done, and like you said, there's gonna be the new lakes, they'll figure out where they are, what their habitat's gonna be,
Yeah.
unless they move somewhere else, so. That's gonna be their choice.
Okay. Okay. New business.
Where we got new business.
All right. On this one here, I just been advised of this one here, so we're looking into it. I'm just getting you aware that we've been reported to the county just because of this backflow. So we have to look into it, either replacing it or repairing the valve if we can. Replacing it is somewhere in the neighborhood between $8,000 and $9,000, if I'm not mistaken. So we're gonna look at to see if we could replace the valve. If not, we will get another price from another vendor. This time, this is the sprinkler company that's doing the work right now. But we'll verify that for the next before the next following month.
Okay.
Hastings North fence replacement. I guess we'll let Eva, but I know we have this in the budget, and I'll let Eva handle that one there.
Right, I don't know if anyone's been over there and taken a look, but ficus bushes were planted, and of course they're growing through the fence. They're breaking apart the fence, it's, you know. So that was the one landscaping project that I asked for in the budget because it's so unsightly and the fencing is becoming a problem. So I do have a couple of photos if you want to pass those around. Our budget amount for the fence is $23,100. We've got three prices. We've got budget fence at $9,600, Martin Fence at $13,160, and Dos Santos at $23,076. And we have a $23,000 budget amount. So I would need.
What is the difference? Why such a disparity?
I have no idea as to why such a
Well, those
disparity.
are fence companies, and you got a general
Because-
contractor bidding that too, so I would just say, I would
96.
go with the two prices that are the two fence companies.
We provided a scope of work, and based on that scope of work, this was the price. So budget was at $9,600. Martin Fence is at $13,000, but we have, don't we have an issue with budget fence, Asia? We do. We do. So we would recommend Martin Fence at $13,160. That's high. It's very high, and that's for a black fence.
Okay, so it's a vinyl coated fence.
Yes.
Okay.
I find the black just disappears. You can't see it. So,
When the last fences that we put up, we put the poles 5 feet on center rather than 8, and that seems to make this fence a lot stronger.
mhm.
That's why I said, see how they pointed out.
Okay, well, I know it's not at 5 foot, but we can, of course, that will increase the price.
Well,
We can't do that
if you-
right now.
Yeah, because if you notice at the Haver Hill entrance and even the Haver Hill Road, it was a mistake that they, instead of putting 8 foot, they put them on 5.
Right.
But it makes the fence that much stronger and that much more viable. So
Okay.
it might look into it, how much do you, I don't know.
We'll do that. We'll kick it back and see what their prices are, because at 13,000, we have room for them to increase, and we could still stay under budget.
Dave's got a question.
I'm surprised you have an issue with budget fence, because we use them constantly. And we haven't had problems with them.
What's the problem?
Asia's got her hand up. Go ahead, Asia.
I can elaborate because of the lawsuit that happened over at the Somerset. the lady literally walked through, the budget fence gentleman raised the caution tape. And second, they have a hold harmless, so if we sign with them, they are not liable, we are liable.
So we have a lawsuit.
There's a lawsuit.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there a plan to, I guess you're taking out the ficus trees, is there a plan to put in something to kind of hide whatever's there by the
There's
fence?
there's homes on the other side of that fence, and they had put in some ficus bushes of their own. And so those are there, but they're not cutting them so that they bush in from the bottom, so you can see right through them. I don't know that we have the room, and if we do, I would love to plant clusia, which is just a solid green wall. But we have to see where the property line ends exactly, and if we have room to do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And does that include the permitting for the fence?
Yes, it does.
Okay, just asking.
We already went through the Mensana.
Yep.
Everything too heavy, right?
Right.
Okay,
So, HVAC change orders?
okay, we were going to discuss that today, but unfortunately, Monica's been out for a while, and numbers are not 100% in front of us here. And I wanted to have the engineer here too, okay? But to our engineer that with the project, okay, to go over it. So we're going to hopefully just push this back a little bit more until we get all the numbers 100%. Okay.
That's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do have a change orders, but I was just talking on the phone, and until we get the numbers exactly where we're at here, we still, with the contingency that we had aboard there, we're under that, okay? But there is change orders, you know, so until she gets the numbers to you and how we're gonna pay the rest of whatever we have left with the air conditioning, that's what she'll explain when we meet up again, okay? I can just tell you right now that we just had this meeting this morning. The engineer and also the air conditioning company, which is the parts that we're waiting from Carrier, okay? We have 80% of the parts in to finish the theater portion of it. I'm looking at the way they're sounding, 2 more weeks to get the rest of the parts, because we can't do, without those parts that are missing, I can't install what we need to on the, for the air conditioning above the theater. But we're still moving forward with all the test and balancing on all the units, okay? But the last ones will be the theater, okay? Those are the 3 big units up on the top. And I think we're missing smaller pieces, but it's not affecting the test and balancing. And so far, the test and balancing is going very well. The engineer, as soon as the test and balance people are done, the engineer gets that report, and then he'll come into the building, okay, and verify everything, okay? So right now, we have one VAV that's a box that lets the air in and out, okay, into a room that's causing a little problem with the control so far that I've heard. Overall, the system is working really good with the heating system and the outside air, okay? So the chillers, temperature right now is still, you know, we had this warm temperature, about 80-something degrees. Everything's working fine with that portion of it, okay? So we have the chill water where we need to constantly, which before we didn't. We only had one. Now one chiller right now. So we should see, unfortunately, the electric bill is going upwards. So we should be going better in the electric, and we're going to do that comparison. But the electric bill has increased, okay, with fuel, right? I don't want to come from drastically, okay? This community here has gotten hit because you are low voltage compared to high voltage that we have in the other communities. You've gotten hit here even harder. One, on the percentages of increase that they have in fuel charges that they didn't advise us on, and that's why we're having that problem. Is that correct on that?
I've not even seen, the rates go up in January, and I've not received the January bills yet. They're probably coming in any day. We'll know then how big it is, but I budgeted for a 15% increase, just based on what we got hit with last year, and the fact that FP&L said that they had not passed on any charges as a result of increased fuel price, but they would be doing so this year.
So everything we've done, okay, with the newer chillers too, they're more efficient than the older ones, okay? It's a plus in the way the electric bills are going up, okay? So everything we're doing with LED, everything we've done in the last 5 to 10 years has helped us, but this is continuing to go up the electric bill, okay? But we'll give you an idea because we'll be able to look at last year's or 2 years back, because I really want to look at what we were doing 2 years back with the old system compared to what we're going to be doing with the new system. And when I come back here the next time, I will put on board here so you can see the system, how it operates. Okay, we have the operations, the system and the way how we control the VAVs in the rooms, okay, so you get a good idea. Kevin has gone to classes on this, and I know Asia knows a little bit about it, but Kevin's the one that's also involved to be able to take care of the rooms, okay? We have now, just so you understand, the standard out there is somewhere around 74 degrees. Okay, that's what we try to keep the building. There's certain rooms, okay, sort of like the party room and the theater, because of the volume of people that can enter, we keep them somewhere around 72 now, okay? But the 74 degree portion in the rest of the building is definitely a lot better. We never had that before. We always had to keep the rooms at 72 or more, so that tells you how the system's working pretty decently, you know, compared to what it was 2 years ago. Okay? Any questions?
I
Yes.
think the theater is comfortable
Yes.
now. It seems like it's not either freezing or too hot. It's
Yeah.
like a medium
And,
during the show.
and we don't have that system working 100% under the computer. We just put it so that we don't blow the doors out there, because those units can. And it's on a, if you were to take a look at these new systems, and this is not the sophisticated, this is Carrier, this is like a middle grade system, okay? The sophistication on the types of systems that are going out there right now, you have to be not only a mechanical, electrical and electronics, okay? If you look at this air handler, how they're making now, where you used to have variable speed drives separately, it's all in the motor, the controls are, it's just unbelievable. And this is in your standard little units out here. And that's why the price of these units have doubled in price since 2 years ago. So it tells you the industry, the cost factors of what's happening out there. So a regular standard air handler where I used to pay somewhere in the neighborhood for a 20-ton, it used to be $1,000 a ton, it's almost doubled that, okay? So that's in the commercial side of these things. So, and that's pricing it around, and I would imagine it's going to continue to keep going up as things get labor costs go up, fuel costs, all material costs are going up to make these things. You know.
Would solar panels on the roof here make any sense?
We investigated this thing, okay, and it's still under this particular building because of shingles and stuff like that, okay? Solar still has a little ways to go, okay? They could sell you, we just had this discussion, and I've been this with FPNL. It's the reason that solar and the FPNL industry, because they get funded by the government, they could get these millions of dollars and have these plants outside there. You'll see a lot of residents that have done this outside there. My son, especially up in north, and I could tell you a little bit about what happened there in New York. He got that, he thought he was getting it all free, had to put a new roof on his house and everything, okay? And then the winter storm came, okay? And guess what? Problems with leaks, problems with stuff on this. So could you imagine here when we have hurricanes here with these panels here, okay? That's something that FPNL, when I went to about 4 years ago, showed us by putting up by code with commercial properties, not residential, commercial properties, how you need to fasten these things, okay? And the reason that we don't have this out there right away is because every time we have a solar panel that's good and it produces this much electricity, there's the next year, boom, somebody's doing something a little bit better. So till we get to that point, okay, where it's just like the LED went through a 20-year process before they got to where they are at today, that's where the solar panels are going to go. Now, yes, people could try to do this, and you will save money, but you got to look at solar panels that they're with the glass, with the salt, closer to the oceans. All these things have to be cleaned to get the efficiencies that you needed. I've been working with FPNL on a solar program that they have, okay, in referencing that we will get a lower bill, okay, if we get into this program. There's a waiting list. Unfortunately, I couldn't get you guys into it. I got Boca into it. I'm I'm still working with FPNL to see if we can get on the list, okay? And it will reduce your bill. What they're trying to do is eliminate these people with the residentials to try to put these solar panels in. They'll give you a discount with their solar power and energy, you know? So that's the future of what's going on, and I think that solar will be down the road, something to look at where a small panel will be able to take care of. There's been, about 3-4 years ago when I went to FPNL, they had all these different panels. They've tested these things, okay, but if you have a roof that you walk on, okay, it could cause problems. It's just like those vinyl roofs that you have. If you have people that work on it and you weld up there or you throw materials there, it will damage it. The same thing with these solar panels, that it has to be nobody up there, okay? And again, because we have hurricanes, you have to take that in consideration, I think, down the road here. Been working with them with also these electric cars. Went to a meeting about 6 months ago, and they're looking at communities like this. How do you provide power, okay, to a community that has 8,000 units, okay? We'll have extension cords here heading out at every single. So we're a long ways from this. It'll be something that the infrastructure will have to change, and when I start seeing a lot of these gas stations putting up these electric chargers is when we see that this is going to start changing, you know. But I've seen a few gas stations out there, Wawa's, still don't have the electric equipment in, and they're brand new. So I would say down the road it will happen. It's just going to take time, and infrastructure is going to have to change. Okay, any questions?
I have a question on, I know that Donald sent out, I don't know if you saw his report on North Canal.
Yes.
What are we doing about that bridge and the situation, potential situation that somebody's gonna get hurt there?
Okay, the bridge we are definitely going to look into to remove from there. There's just no way that we're going to repair that bridge. The North Canal, I had told you that we have been discussing it with our attorneys, okay? We are having a meeting, okay? I can't tell you, I forgot the date, but it's next week sometime. And we will get a lot of information, okay, that I'm going to sit down with you and the board, because as soon as we get to a certain point, okay, it's going to come back to us here, okay, to make that decision. But I think we got some things that we could lay out to them and see where it goes. But I think we have enough information to make them think about this and who owns the property, okay? And that's what we're really trying to get, even if we have to change the name, because there's no way that we could even do a permit there to try to make any work getting done there, because it's in a name that's no longer in existence, okay? So, but I would say we would have a good answer by the next one, and the meeting that we have with these attorneys, okay?
Meantime, we just keep the place locked up. Nobody gets in.
Yes, and I think that what will happen is that I'll discuss that too in that meeting, so that we can see what the cost is for the removal of that. Because to put something there, okay, one, we can't do it because of the permit, okay, to be able to do that at this point right now. But to make it safe, that nobody tries to go around that, you know, to get through there, because it is unsafe to go
I
through
mean,
there.
the support of the bridge is the culvert.
Yeah.
That's basically, it's culverts, sandbags with pavers on them.
And the last time we looked at it, it was falling in, it was not in good shape.
The top of the culvert is rotted out, so the pavers are falling in.
Yes.
That was 2018, so
Yes.
you don't even notice that.
I would like to make a suggestion that we put a sign and put a camera there to make sure,
Cameras are already in.
but put a sign, do not use the bridge at, you know, because somebody will go over it, just like they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're, Jose and I are working on, without spending any money, making it hard for them to even cut the chains and go in. So just wire, old new channel across the fence and then the whole 9 yards.
An electrified fence.
So we'll try to get back.
My concern is, since we don't know who actually owns the property, or whoever owns it may or may not exist, if somebody gets hurt, they're gonna sue everybody and their mother. And I really don't wanna be put in that situation.
No, so as soon as we actually find out whose it is and responsibilities, then we can look down the road like we were doing, getting those numbers together and moving forward in the direction down the road, you know, to try to clean that place up.
Hey, we can always fix it, just charge a toll.
No?
Charge the toll.
It's a joke.
Any other questions on the HVAC?
No. I have a question for Eva. We've been getting some complaints about the new gym equipment at the Hastings.
Yes.
People getting hurt, people falling down, people not knowing how to use it, not pet friendly, or whatever you want to call it.
Not pet friendly?
Yeah, you know, whatever. I've heard all
So
kinds
we
of
have-
things, people friendly.
Well, you know, interestingly, the old equipment, they're doing the same thing on the new equipment that they did on the old equipment, where there's an actual seat. And if they don't know how to adjust that front part, it pushes them further back on the seat, and then they just fall backwards onto the floor. So we have been trying to, when we see them going to that equipment, because there's two pieces that this happens regularly, old and new, that we try to meet them there and then explain to them how they need to adjust the equipment, what's been happening. People have been falling over backwards. Thankfully, everyone who's fallen off, it's a rubberized floor, they haven't hit their head, they just pick themselves up. They're embarrassed, they do that thing where they look around to see who saw them fall. You know, thankfully, there have been no resulting lawsuits from that. But we have been trying to train them and on how to use it properly. And that just goes for all the equipment. We did have some installation issues. We had some loose cables, we had some bolts that were falling off onto the floor, so the company that we have a contract with to service the equipment has been coming and has been fixing everything, and they're here regularly just dealing with all the issues. I'm not happy about the fact that the installation was what I would deem poor. I think it was poor. So, but when I went out and researched this company, there were no complaints. So I don't know if they changed companies, or again, if there's been a loss of all of their trained workers and they've got a bunch of new people who don't know what they're doing. I don't know, but we are in touch with Joe from Legend. We're in touch with Drew from the company that's been coming and dealing with all the issues. And we'll see where we are, and then I will make a final report. Yeah. And nobody asks. It's new equipment. Nobody asks. How do you use it? They try to figure it out on their own. You know? They don't. Mm-mm. So. We have it open till 9. We decided we would, I brought that to the committee, and it was decided that you would close the gym at the same time that we're closing the outdoor pools. All right. Any other questions on that one?
I mean, Leslie, you asked about the balcony. They are out there working on that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I would say it'd still be a couple, this is the outside balcony out here where the
The
car.
catwalk? Mm-hmm.
Is that why the card room's been closed?
Yes,
Yes.
because there's no emergency exits now.
That's per the building department.
Because of course I get
Closed,
complaints
so-
about that.
The best, I'm sorry.
Just to let you know, that's the building department that requested this, the fire department. We tried to go around certain things, only use the room halfway maybe, but they would not allow, they wanted to
How long will
close.
this be?
The way it's looking at that right now, at least a couple more weeks. You know?
They've been showing up regularly when they say they would show up, so that's a good sign. Yes, Ruth?
We had a building meeting on February 9th in that room. Where will it be?
You know what? That you would have to talk to Melissa because she's got the schedule and she knows what's available, but we will definitely take care of you. As far as our card players, I have the tables out in the lobby. They make use of that as much as they can, and hopefully we'll have the card rooms open very soon. I'll be glad to just have a clubhouse that's open 100%. I'm so over this, really. It's just been, Okay, and last on the list is this Operation Sacred Legacy. So this is something that, according to this, so let's see, the Library of Congress has been collecting video interviews from veterans in every state and U.S. territory, from every branch of the military and from every conflict era. So that's from World War I through modern times. So what, this was Congressman Weiss's office that reached out to us, and they would like to do the same thing here with our veterans here. So that would mean that I would have to give a room, and then they've have a partnership with Indian River State College, and they would come and they would set up the interviews and they would run the videos, and these videos then will be kept. Let's see. Yeah, so
Library of Congress.
the Library of Congress, exactly. They'll be stored and preserved.
And eventually they'll make a documentary of it all.
I think it's fabulous. I think it's a fabulous program. I just want to make sure that nobody has any problem with me giving them a room as we move forward with this. Everybody's okay with it? All right, I just wanted to ask before we move forward. I will let Derek know that we're on board. All right, great. And that's it for me. Does anybody have anything?
I understand that you've got a problem with the dances, with line dancing and regular dancing, okay?
Yes.
People have been fighting.
It's a very small group of people.
I understand, but do you think, since a dance is supposed to be couples only, I'm an old-fashioned person, this is what I understand a dance is. Is it possible that if I may, or can I make a motion that during the dance you have 3 dances for couples, and then the 4th dance for line dancing? So you don't have both of them on the floor at the same time.
Well, what I would say for that, Olga, I mean, I've been a dancer from way back, a teenager. And so, you know, I remember the fast dancing. And then there were the older couples that wanted to do their ballroom dancing. And ballroom dancing requires movement where you actually traverse the floor. And the rule then was that all the couple dances dancing the fast dances were in the middle of the dance floor, and these couples doing their ballroom dancing stayed to the outside so that they could move and continue to their ballroom dancing while we danced in the middle. Line dancing is for all those women who no longer have a partner. Okay, so times change and we need to all evolve, and that's what I'm asking from the residents, that number one, we're all neighbors, and that you need to be considerate, and there is a way to make this work. Sometimes no line dancers get up, sometimes 10, sometimes 20, but there should not be this attitude that, well, this is my space and you can't have it. I don't want you to have it. This is a shared facility. And I'm reminding people of that. I've put up signs. One half is for couple dancing, whether it's fast or slow. The other is for line dancing. But that invisible line moves depending on how many line dancers get up, if at all. So just be considerate and give way.
One of the issues that you have with your suggestion is line dancers will line dance to every and all songs, so it doesn't matter. I've seen people line dancing to a tango. I've seen them line dancing to a merengue, which, believe me, looks... Anyway, they dance to everything. So it's not going to be a good suggestion to turn around and say, well, we're going to have this dance, then the line dance. It's not going to work.
If you don't change it or do something about it, then you're putting yourself in a position where eventually somebody is going to get so angry on that dance floor and wallop somebody else. You're putting yourself in that situation.
Well, this is why, unfortunately,
You're not solving the problem.
listen, I'm turning into Big Brother is watching. This is me. That's one part of my new job. Okay, I'm putting cameras everywhere I can, and I cannot get them up fast enough. So that is why in my article the other month, I let everybody know that there are cameras in there, and I will be watching. And then I will suspend people. And if they wallop somebody, we'll call the police, and they can explain to the police. That is very serious these days, to put your hands on another person in anger. So I have posted my article, which acts as the warning letter, and from that I will go straight to suspension. It's a small group. I can tell you that the ushers send me a report for the shows and the dances. Since I let everybody know there were cameras and I wrote that article and I also made a poster out of it, things seem to be going a little bit better on the dance floor. So let's just hope it was enough to make the difference for those few who decided they needed to shake their fist over what they consider their territory.
This is the
I
first
said
year.
my piece.
No, this has been going on
No, no,
since
this-
before COVID.
This is the first year that I've seen where there's a sign that says line dancers here, and, you know.
I made those before COVID hit.
I never had a problem with it before.
We did, you just weren't aware.
I was-
Listen, I called one couple to my office and I said, I need to make someone an example. I'm willing that it's you. How about you? So they did back off, but they still have the attitude. But, yeah, no, I pretty much know who my culprits are. But, listen, to police and to put it on the, not the DJ, which should be a couples dance, which should be a line dance. We're all neighbors. How did you, most of those are women up there dancing.
Are we gonna have people calling, hey, do-si-do and all that?
Why not?
Make it square?
You know, so people, look,
That's,
you know, we went through some really hard times. The country was really wound up in a lot of different ways, from politics, COVID, inflation, I mean, you name it. It's been crazy. But we all need to, at some point, step back and say, I need to step back from that. I need to tone it down. You know, and we need to all look for a little bit more zen in our lives. And fighting over dance floor space, to me, is so petty and childish. You know, so I'm just calling them on it, and we'll see where we go. And if I have to suspend, I'll suspend. Right now, things have been quiet with the last few reports since my article was written, so we'll see.
we're gonna have jets and
I know,
shuttles.
I'm trying to get, I
That's
know.
why I likened it to West Side Story, because it is. It's
Let's put
ridiculous.
dancing aside. Dominic wanted to be
Yes,
recognized.
please.
Thank you. I can't help but overhear people in the UCO waiting area and about things that they talk between themselves. And amongst them are that the equipment that's been put in is too close together, and that they're having a difficulty maneuvering between, yeah, you agree with that?
It's a little bit, the equipment's a little bulkier, but I'm gonna take you back years where we talked about pushing the south wall of the gym into the aerobics room because we didn't have the usage. It's a very large room. We wanted to push it by about 15 feet, which would allow us to spread things out in the gym. So we had the engineering done on that, right?
We just had not the engineering,
Not the-
just a layout.
Okay, so we have a layout, we can certainly look for the engineering. I do think it's a good idea to still go that route, so we can certainly present it at budget time and see what you guys want to do based on the cost.
I think you should
The
take-
other thing is that the length of the movie that we had last week, 3 hours, was a little long for a lot of people. A lot of them, some had tripped and going through the darkness, going back to the ladies' room and so forth, and others didn't make it to the ladies' room in time. So if we could have shorter movies and a better quality movie, I think we would.
You know, we've had several movies that were just not really the best for this village, but you do have some that do enjoy them, and we don't censor. And also, Abby gets a list and she has to choose from the list with the movie company that she's with. So, you know, we would like to stay away from the blood and guts and the F word that's every other word, and, you know, so it's been a rough patch, I'll agree. And people should still go to the bathroom, but the ushers, God bless them, when they notice that a seat has a darker stain on it, they give me the seat number, we report it immediately to Glow, and the seats are steam cleaned and then Tefloned before someone else has to sit in that seat. But that comes, listen, that's part of the territory, folks. It's part of the territory, so
We need to bring back cartoons.
I think, I don't argue with you on that one, I think that's a great idea. We need to find ways to laugh and lighten our mood. I don't disagree. Somebody's obviously finding, this is a problem for us.
Oh, yes.
But if we can identify them, then I go for that, we go for that.
What is that?
It's plastic bottle.
Well, at least that one's a plastic bottle, but this I understand, Richard, you said this was from the women's?
No, men's.
Men's?
Today.
Okay. Men's,
Smirnoff vodka.
Men's locker room at Hastings.
Check for fingerprints. Richard handles those fingerprints.
He said if it's DNA testing, fingerprints.
The offices, no, the clubhouse is open at 8. The gym is open at 7. Yes, that early. Now? When? Oh, lovely. All right, so, okay.
She's making the rounds.
That's it for me. Does anybody have anything else?
Yes.
Go to Andrew.
Yeah.
Sorry, David, yes.
What is the delay on having the door put back into service at the front of the clubhouse?
We are working with Stanley.
It's got to be close to a month.
Yeah, we're working with Stanley Doors on that. They didn't have the parts necessarily. Okay, here we go, Aisha.
Got a phone call just this morning, they're trying to get out here this Thursday.
Okay, there's your answer. But we have been diligently working with them. There's been a parts issue back and forth, and so, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dolly, you have anything that you'd like to bring up since you were late?
Did anybody ask about North, South Lagoon?
Yes.
No.
North, no,
We just had a discussion.
we just put a
All right,
contract
so
together.
there were financials here. What happened to the
We'll, as soon as
financials?
we get it back from our attorney,
Donald's
we'll get a date together. But it's, what's
It's
the date we
scheduled
put on it?
for, if everything's approved, it'll
But
be
I
by the end
am
of
in front of
February.
where I need a signature. So I need that paper.
Well, he's probably gonna bring it to David.
But that's the,
That front
that's
page
by the
needs a
firehouse,
signature?
right, in Weir.
I'll get it for you in a minute.
I think
Right, Don?
David
What's
will.
it about the Weir, right? That Weir.
So, yes, we are. I am. Anybody else? I'm sorry again.
Anything else before we close the meeting?
And thank you for changing the date for me.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm curious about the double doors at Hastings that say don't use these doors. I mean, it used to be only one door, now it's both doors. Signs on them, do not use this door.
Where's this?
At Hastings to go out onto the pool deck.
Exactly.
The first set of doors are not automated. So if you want automated doors, you need to go to the second set.
Oh, I understand that. I'm
Okay.
just wondering, why do we have doors that you can't use?
You should be able to use them. I don't know why you can't. But you say there's signs on the doors?
Yes,
I'll look into that. I'm not sure I understand the why of it, but I will look into it.
thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Bob? All right.
Okay, thank you. Hey, Bob?
Thank you.
Where was that? Asia, we need glow to...
Coming into, somebody came in,
Are you a pirate
front
today,
doors,
Les?
and went straight to the bathroom.
But didn't make it in time.
There's your trail all the way.
So there's a trail.
Did you just see that?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Sedgwick. What is going on? And then,
Yeah, if you go to the other side, this one. Turn the switch to off. Oh, you're talking about the one that's coming out.